Beneath a failing furniture store, there is a door that should not exist. Behind it, a dimension with no exits, no windows, no sky. Clark walks in, and he does not come back out. The place remembers people, it copies them, it wears their faces. His therapist goes in after him. Now neither of them can find the way out. What happens when you come face to face with the version of yourself the darkness built? Subscribe and find out. Clark is not doing well. The store is called Captain Clark's Ottoman Empire, and it sits off the 580 freeway like something that gave up. He sells furniture. He used to design buildings. That gap between what he wanted and what he has, that is Clark's whole personality. Twice a week he sits across from Dr. Mary Klein, his therapist. She tells him he learned to push people away before they could leave first. She says the word out loud, alone. Clark does not argue, he just sits there and lets it land. He says maybe he deserves it. Mary does not agree, but she does not push, not yet. She asks if he is ready to try something new. Clark says sure. Clark has been saying sure for years. They do an exercise, role play. Clark will be Clark, Mary will be Barbara, the ex-wife. He came home drunk, he broke a glass. Barbara came downstairs and everything he had been keeping inside came out at once. He says things that cannot be unsaid, about money, about her degree, about who has been carrying everything. The session ends badly, the group watching shifts in their chairs. Clark is embarrassed. That is the most honest he has been in months. Back at the store, the lights start doing something wrong. One circuit up, the next one down, never at the same time. The electrician checks the panel. The current runs through parts of the circuit that have no purpose, like someone put it there on purpose. Then Clark finds it. Behind the back wall of the basement, the store just keeps going, a copy of itself. He says it feels like a maze. He says sometimes he is afraid of getting lost. He has already been inside. Clark has been inside before, more than once, and he has not told anyone. He tells Mary he found something in the store, not a room, a place, like the store keeps going past a wall that should not be there. He says it is like there is a wall and on the other side the store just fills up, a copy of itself, slightly wrong. He pulls out a sketch, rough lines on a napkin. He has already been mapping it. He says it is like a maze and it goes on and on. Sometimes he is afraid of getting lost in there. Mary does not write anything down. She asks if he has been sleeping. She asks if he has been drinking. Clark says he has not touched a drink since Friday. That is why he looks so bad. Mary believes him. That makes the whole thing harder to dismiss. He tells her he will bring proof. He is not asking permission. That night, Clark leads Kat and Bobby into the basement. He steps through the wall. Bobby grabs a camera and follows. Inside, yellow wallpaper, wet carpet, fluorescent lights at a frequency that makes your teeth hurt, rooms that open into hallways that open into more rooms. Bobby films everything. Clark points to furniture half dissolved into the plaster, like the room tried to absorb it and gave up halfway. No windows, no exits they can find, no logical reason for any of it to exist beneath a strip mall in California. Clark has been here before. He does not say how many times. Clark goes back alone first. The second trip is different. Something in the furniture has moved, not while he watches, only between glances. A lamp that was in the left hallway is now at the end of the corridor. A desk chair has moved 3 rooms east. Clark stops, pointing it out. Then Bobby is gone. Clark searches for 40 minutes, or what feels like 40 minutes, because time inside does not run at the same speed. He calls Bobby's name. He hears it echo back from somewhere that should not exist. The geometry has quietly rearranged itself. He finds Bobby sitting on the floor in a room he has never mapped. Camera still running. Bobby says he saw something. He does not describe what. Bobby is quieter after that. Back at the store, Mary pulls property records. The building has a strange history. Tenants who left without notice. A maintenance contractor who filed one report and disappeared. One name keeps appearing across 15 years of documents. The Async Research Institute. Mary does not know what that is, not yet. Clark stops showing up. The store stays dark for 2 days. Kat calls, Bobby calls, Mary calls and gets voicemail. His message is brief. He says he is going back in. He does not sound distressed when he says this. That is the part that frightens Mary the most. Bobby shows up at Mary's office without an appointment. He sits down and tells her everything. Mary listens without interrupting, then she picks up her coat. She goes to the store, she goes to the basement. She stands in front of Clark's chalk outline on the wall and she walks through. Inside, Clark's maps are everywhere, taped to the walls, stuffed into coat pockets on a coat rack that has no business being there. He has been inside long enough to start decorating. She finds him in a room he has set up like a living room. A couch, a lamp, a coffee table. He looks rested. He is not frightened. He says the backrooms quiet something in him that the real world never could. Mary finds Clark in a room he has furnished himself. A couch, a lamp, a coffee table. He looks rested. He is not frightened. She is about to speak when she sees it. At the far end of the corridor, something shaped like a person. It wears a shirt she recognizes, but the face is not quite right. The features are there but smoothed, slightly wrong. Clark calls them still lifes. He says they are everywhere. He says they are harmless. Mary is not sure she agrees. He explains it. The backrooms remembers people. Everything that enters leaves a trace, and the dimension uses those traces to rebuild what it has seen. Poorly. Mary tries to leave. The chalk marks are there. The wall is there. The portal is not. The backrooms has quietly rearranged the space between them and the door. Still lifes begin to appear more often. They stand in doorways. They tilt their heads at angles that human necks cannot hold. Then they withdraw. Clark starts saying out loud what Mary has been afraid of hearing. He does not want to leave. All the places that once existed, he can feel them here. No debt, no failure, no weight. Then Clark sees himself, at the end of the corridor, a still life wearing his face, his posture, the slight lean he gets when he is trying to convince someone of something. It stands there looking at him with its slightly wrong face. Clark cannot move. Something in him breaks open. Clark looks at the version of himself the backrooms built, and in some strange way it is beautiful. A disaster, but beautiful too. Somewhere out there is a man with a striped shirt. Here he is just a memory, just a little bit wrong. The backrooms builds its rooms from what people carry inside. Clark describes what it feels like inside. No thoughts, no pain, no ego, no fear. They only exist as furniture. He says it like it is a gift. Mary does not say he is wrong. She asks him one question. What path are you choosing, Clark? The easy one or a new one? Clark has no answer, not yet. Mary tries to retrace her steps. The route is right. The geometry is wrong. The backrooms has moved the exit. That is when the fear hits her, not gradually, all at once, the way cold water hits when you fall through ice. Something moves at the far end of the hallway, not toward them, just across, just enough to know it is there. Clark tells her to calm down. He has seen them before. They do not attack, they watch. Mary asks how he knows that. In a deeper corridor they find equipment, old cameras, cabling, survey markers. Someone has been in here before them, 40 years before them. The markers read and are Async research. The Async Institute has been mapping the backrooms for 4 decades. A still life appears at the end of the corridor, but this one moves with purpose, less mimicry, more direction. It leads them deeper instead of watching from a distance. Phil finds them. He is calm about it. He has been inside longer than anyone who has survived the experience. He leads them into a section the Async has partially mapped. Folding tables, generators, dead radios, walls covered in notes. Phil explains it from the start. In 1990, a researcher named Naren Warren entered the backrooms. He made contact with the first confirmed still life, a copy of himself built from corrupted memory. The backrooms does not think, it remembers. Everything that enters leaves a trace. The still lifes are what happens when the memory is incomplete, which is always. Portals are multiplying, opening in basements, in subways, in the back rooms of ordinary buildings. Async does not know why the frequency is increasing. That is the problem. Then Clark sees himself, at the far end of the corridor, a still life wearing his face, his shirt, his exact posture. Clark cannot move. Phil says they need to go. Clark does not go. Clark stands in front of the thing that is almost him. Mary steps forward to stop him. Phil holds her back. He says this matters. He says they have never seen a subject make deliberate contact. Clark walks toward it. The still life holds its ground. They stand 3 feet apart, the man and the memory the Backrooms built of him. Clark starts talking, not to Mary, not Phil, to it. He says the thing he has never said out loud to anyone, that he failed at the only thing he ever wanted to be. The still life mimics each sentence back at him, distorted, wrong syllables in wrong places. The further Clark goes into honesty, the less stable the entity becomes. He says he hurt Barbara. He says Barbara was right about most of it. He says the furniture store is going under and has been for 2 years, and he has known it the whole time. He says he is not an architect, and he is not a captain, and he is not a sultan. He says every identity he ever built was a thing to hide behind. The still life flickers. When he is done, the still life dissolves, not dramatically, quietly, like a word you have been mispronouncing your whole life finally corrected. Phil says, "Let's go," and for the first time since Mary walked through the wall, Clark agrees. They run, the backrooms shifts around them, rooms expanding, hallways extending, the geometry fighting back, but Phil knows the patterns. He has been inside long enough to read them. Still lifes line the corridors on both sides. They do not chase. They watch. They turn their heads as Clark passes, the man they were built from, walking away. The exit appears not where Clark left it, 3 floors up in a section he has never mapped. The backrooms gives it back on its own terms. Clark looks back once. The backroom stretches behind him, yellow and infinite and wrong. He does not say goodbye. He does not need to. They cross back, the basement, the fluorescent lights, the smell of furniture, polish, and failure. Clark sits on the floor and does not move for a long time. Mary wakes up in a hospital bed, clean light, real ceiling. Her phone has 3 missed calls from Bobby, 2 from Kat, and 1 voicemail from Clark. 2 men in suits are waiting outside her room. They are not police. Their badges say Async Research Institute. Phil is with them. They bring her to a room and Phil sits across from her and begins at the beginning. Async was a medical technology company. They found the backrooms by accident. They never left. He tells her about Kat and Bobby. They are safe. He shows her a photograph of Clark, the same one from a missing persons report filed 3 days ago. She asks if they are going to find him. Phil does not answer that question. He asks her what Clark said before he stopped responding. She says Clark told her the backrooms quieted something in him, that the noise in his head, every argument, every failure, none of it followed him inside. Phil nods. He says Async was originally building MRI machines. Then they found a portal in a hospital sub-basement in 1987. Their entire mission changed overnight. Their current objective: map the entire dimension. Entry portals are opening with increasing frequency. They do not know why. They do not know how to stop it. Phil tells her he goes in every day. He maps what he can. He says nothing in the history of human knowledge means more than what is inside that dimension. He cannot explain why. He cannot even describe it. Mary asks what is going to happen to her. Phil says that decision does not depend on him. She asks if she can go. He says they want to understand a little more, just the 2 of them, like 2 normal people. Phil leans forward. He says there are doors opening everywhere. They do not know why only 1 portal appeared for 30 years and now there are dozens. He says they were both there. They understand each other. Mary plays Clark's voicemail on speaker. Phil listens without expression. Clark's voice fills the room, steady, calm, resolved. He says he is not coming back. He says she was a good therapist. Phil stops the recording. He does not say anything for a long moment. Then he picks up his